Hi, I'm Dr. Tracy Moreno, psychologist, owner of Free Spirit Coaching and Psychological Services.
I'm Pasquale, spiritual life coach, owner of the Peaceful Sage, and intuitive, crystal Reiki, medium, all of that fun stuff.
Pretty much everything. Okay, so today we are going to talk about meditation. It's interesting because it's one of the most vital parts of our spiritual journey, but I think it's also one of the most hated
Difficult.
and
I would say
difficult parts
difficult.
for people. So, and part of why we created this group too is to really talk about the problems with the spiritual journey and how we overcome these things. It's not going to be like all light and love and perfection, right? We want to really get down and dirty into what we see, and to be able to help each other through the challenges we have on this journey, right? So
I will say, like, for me, one of the big things that, growing up as an intuitive and kind of having things happen to me as a youth, right, felt very out of control. And then once I started to step into that spiritual world, one of the things that I kept hearing over and over and over was, if you start to meditate, you'll be able to gain control. You'll be able to connect a little bit easier. You'll be able to kind of release kind of all of that other stuff and just be you. And I always found it to be, like, for me, it was overwhelming.
yeah,
A kid in his 18-year-old going to college, kind of trying to find their life, and at the same time being told, you have to meditate. You have to meditate.
yeah.
And I was always like, okay, I'm going to try. And then I would always have reasons as to why I wouldn't do it. It was one of the hardest practices to actually wrap my arms around and start to create.
And a lot of therapists will tell their clients, you want to meditate, you want to do yoga, you want to, we give this like list of recommendations that, everybody should do. The problem that I find is it's not explained why, right? So do you want to help explain why meditation is so important?
Sure. So meditation for me has always been about just kind of letting go of kind of that mind, right? Your mind is always active. It's always in motion. It's always thinking. And meditation is an opportunity for you to kind of release that and step into that stillness, right? To kind of get into that space where there is no mind, right? There is really nothing, is how I kind of look at it. For me, it's always been kind of that sacred space where I can just step into a meditative state and I'm good. Nothing is happening. I'm not thinking about anything.
It's just we find some peace and contentment. And then also even beyond that, once we can get there, we also, we're calming the conscious mind enough to open up and listen to our unconscious mind or our higher self or guides or, whatever, angels, whatever it is that you believe in, any sort of internal messages or guidance answers to come through, which is like the next step.
Completely. And I will tell you, one of the byproducts that is out there with when it comes to meditation, the Dalai Lama has gone through studies. And this is a man who lives in meditation, right? This basically his life. And one of the things that someone at Harvard, I believe, or Stanford had done a research on him, and they had found that actually that meditative state was actually healing his body.
Oh yeah.
It was providing a sense of healing.
Right.
Which really just prolongs life, allows us to live a better life, a more human life. So it has there's no negative to meditation. It's just a difficult, I always call it habit to kind of step into, right? It's that difficult space to kind of say, I'm dedicating myself to this and know that nothing else is more important.
I think it terrifies people to think about sitting there for however many minutes, and just in silence and try to keep nothing in their head. And people get very frustrated. Coming from the psychology perspective, and me personally, I'll share with you, I've struggled with anxiety and I have ADHD. And so the thought of sitting there for any sort of extended period of time is just I get sick. That causes me anxiety. And so I've had to learn you know, that first off, why I'm even doing this, because it has to become a practice, right? It's not just going to be, it is very hard in the beginning, and that's the reality of it that not many people talk about, which is why we want to talk about it. It is hard in the beginning, and your thoughts are going to drift. There's going to be all kinds of, you know, the to-do lists and the dogs or something at work, or, you know, something with the kids, or what am I going to make for dinner, or, you know, all kinds of things are going to pop, random things are going to pop into your mind, and then you're going to be going, oh crap, I'm meditating. And then, but all we have to do is like keep bringing it back. Like that is okay, you know, and it's normal and it's to be expected, because the process is to train, right? We have to practice and train ourselves to be okay with that silence.
Yeah. You know, it's funny you mentioned that about the meditation. I'll go into like my own personal kind of journey with meditation is over the years, right? Like I go meditate. You have to meditate. You want to gain control. You have to meditate. When you're in circle, you meditate because you're with a group. So it's a little bit easier because there's that group share, that mind share, right? But when you're home alone, you're like, you have to meditate, you have to meditate. And I was like, oh my God, Debbie, I can't meditate. I don't know how to do this, right? And so I was luckily in growing up in Chicago, one of the things that I was introduced to a Lama. And a Buddhist monk, and so he was there, and he always offered free meditation classes. And I was like, if there's anyone who can teach me, it is him. And so I actually went on a Saturday just to kind of sit in there. I was scared to walk in, but I met him, and he was one of the nicest people at the Buddhist Center, and he taught me how to kind of do it, right? And the whole objective, I will tell you, is a lot of people are like, you've got to meditate, and you've got to get in there, and you've got to meditate 45 minutes to an hour.
Oh my God, that would cause me so much anxiety.
I died. That's what, and when I was there, like growing up, it was like, oh yeah, you have to meditate. I'm like, I can't sit for 45 minutes, you know? It's one of the things that I've learned is you start small, right? 3 minutes is a lot of meditating. 3 minutes dedicated, right? So if you can dedicate 3 minutes at one time in your day, you're already starting a meditation practice, because that 3 minutes becomes 5 becomes 10,
but
10
you don't even
becomes
have to
30.
Think about that right now.
No. It's that 3 minutes.
That's what helped me when you told me that. Like you said, just do 3 minutes, and I was like, okay, 3 minutes sounds totally doable. But even then, I got to tell you, like I would have my little timer, and I have a little meditation room. And well, I guess it's probably really my yoga room, but where I meditate in. So I have the timer, and like sometimes I'll be like that. I'll be in it, and I'm like looking at the timer.
Yes.
Like, oh crap.
You know
and I can't even do 3.
The trick to that is look for meditation music that is 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Because then you know you're just listening to the song. When it's over, it's over.
Yeah.
But I used to do the same thing. I'd be like. But I will tell you one of the tricks that I've learned, okay? When you're first starting to meditate, I always tell myself, all right, I'm going to push the mute button onto the outside world, and I'm not going to let the world be there, right? Mm-hmm. And that oftentimes gets me to start thinking about not thinking, right? Mute means no voice, which also means no thought, right? And so I started to give myself that early on in my practice. Is one of the things that the Lama said was like, just turn the mute button on. You don't need to be there. You only need to be here right now. Right. And it started to work. But it's funny because recently, literally this week, I was working with someone, and they had mentioned, like in their meditation practice, what they do is the minute your mind starts wandering, just put the baby back in its blanket. And I started laughing because I thought that was the funniest thing. Like, and I thought it, because even today, I will tell you, like, I meditate on a regular basis, probably more than I would ever expect most people to do. Yeah. And I do it for me, but when I do meditate, my mind still wanders. It still kind of sometimes drifts away. And just recently I said to myself, okay, baby, get back in that blanket. And I started laughing, but it did work. I started to kind of get back into that focus.
So some things that I use with my clients in terms of the psychotherapy perspective is, especially with, things like anxiety and ADHD and, trauma and things. So is guided meditation. And I know we've talked about that. We don't necessarily, but sorry about that. The thing though, going back to spirituality is, there are no rules.
Yeah, there's
and
no
just
right
as
way.
long as you're doing it right, there's no wrong way, there's no right way. And so to me it's just about fitting it into your lifestyle, because that's the only way you're going to eventually even get to that more, if there is a right way, but you have to start somewhere. And if somebody's telling you that you have to, sit alone in a room without a thought in your head, with your, Indian style with the, your hands and, the traditional posing for 30, 45 minutes, there's no way that people are going to do it. So I say just whatever works for you. And I always recommend start with guided meditation, because if you think about mindfulness, it is totally engaging all of your senses. And so it helps keep your attention also.
Yes.
And it's because you're listening to what they're saying, they're guiding you. You also learn how to do the correct breathing. You'll learn different breathing exercises. It could be maybe even progressive relaxation, where they guide you to they'll start at the top of your head, or maybe they'll start from the feet up, and they'll go through different body parts and you'll just learn different techniques also to relax your mind and body. And so that seems to work really well for people. And it also, you can lay in the bed. I tell people, do it right before you get up in the morning when you're laying in bed. You don't have to be seated, or do it before you go to sleep at night. I even recommend falling asleep to certain affirmations, or even the meditation music. Even if you can put it on so low where, to me, it might be creepy for some people, but I like when it's at a whisper and you just hear the and for some reason it's so soothing for me. Of course, that might be creepy for some people. But to me, it's really, it's soothing. Or even the soundscapes people like, the ocean, the thunder,
That's all for
figure
meditation.
out what works. Right. Figure out what works for you. Even I say I meditate when I run.
Yeah.
Running, it's a focus. We can only think about those to-do lists and, problems at work or at home, or, whatever else is on our mind for, I don't know, maybe 5-10 minutes of a walk, a run, or any sort of physical exercise activity. And then we have to start focus on our breathing, and that is a form of meditation for sure.
I have a few things to say about
Okay,
that. Because I will say, I'm someone who, all of my clients, I will always record them. Anytime we're working on a meditation, I'll always record a guided meditation with them, so that they're present during the meditation, and then they take it home and they can listen, right? I think guided meditation is great for someone who's just starting, because it does help you kind of get the cue points to kind of know where to go, right? I think for some people, it's awesome, right? I will tell you personally, guided meditations don't work for me. I'm too
But you're
focused.
a professional.
No, but even when I started, with the Lama, he didn't have a guided meditation. It was just sit there and start breathing. I mean, it was really simple, right?
Yeah.
But I will tell you, from I just put music on and I'm good. And it could be any kind of music, just not death metal, because that just kind of brings your energy down. So it's a chill music, right? And I'm good to meditate with that. But again, that's me.
Yeah.
I will say though that energetically, based on your energy, different meditations are more appropriate for you to start.
Okay.
Right? So someone who has a lot of anxiety, right? They have an anxious energy, a walking or a running meditation is amazing for them, because it allows you to get your mind out, right? The whole objective of meditating is to quiet the mind.
Right.
And so when you're in that kind of high anxiety state and you go for a run or a really heavy walk, you'll stop thinking, because as your energy is, because it's such a moving energy.
You need something more active.
It just starts to chill you, right?
Yeah.
Whereas some people who have more of calmer energy, right? Or more a depressive, they have more prone to depression, right?
Yeah.
Yoga is great for that. because it's slow. It
Right.
kind of flows,
Yeah, when
right?
I'm anxious, I cannot do yoga.
No,
I have to be
it's
like
opposite.
chill.
And so it's really kind of fine tuning your energy. And then once you know what works, it's just starting, right?
And I love what you're bringing up too, is each day or even hour to hour, our mood, we could be in different states,
Shifts.
frames of mind, right? States. And so, we could be, maybe down in the morning and in the evening have a little bit more of anxiety or opposite or whatever it might be. And so it's about recognizing where you are in that moment and then also picking the appropriate way, like form of meditation.
Correct.
So
Totally
so
agree.
we're just accepting where we are in that moment, and then picking the appropriate tool for us to use.
Yeah.
That matches our energy.
I would agree. And,
It's
and
like coping
you start to
skills.
recognize it though. You
Right.
start to recognize what works. But I would tell you, like, in the beginning, like, my tips, right? Like, my first tip would be, like, kind of go with what you're finding makes you quiet, right? If you know your mind is quiet, that's a form of meditation. Walking works. Running works.
Yeah.
Sitting works. Laying in bed works, right? Like, all of those
Not
forms
laying in
work.
bed.
I cannot. I have been known, my mentors will tell you that I have fallen asleep and the entire class is left and I am still
I
sleeping.
never fall asleep. Yeah.
So I have no problem sleeping the minute I lay down. And
I
so
was
I
laying
cannot.
there- I was laying there doing a meditation one time. I was just like laying in the bed, and my husband had come in, and he was like, "Oh, I thought you were meditating," but all like, "Oh, I thought like so judgy," and I was like, "I am meditating, damn it!" There are no rules. Don't put me in a box.
Can't you hear the music?
No.
It's the truth.
I was so mad.
I do incorporate a lay down meditation right before bed, but it's more of like a release.
Yeah.
For me, it's just kind of my end of the day thing.
Yeah.
But I would say, like, if you're looking to start a meditation practice, which everyone who's listening to this should probably
Yes.
start if you don't already have one,
Yes.
I would tell you, just remember the simple rule, right? There's no rule. Just do it, right? Take 2 minutes and just sit. And even if you sit and breathe for 30 seconds, even a minute, right? And you're listening or you're playing music or there's a guided, if you can do it for 30 seconds, that 30 seconds will be a minute the second time you do it. A minute will become 2. It's just about making space for it.
Right.
That's the key, is you have to commit yourself. And what I make my clients do is when I'm sitting there and we're talking about their growth and their spiritual journey, it's like, listen, what time of day are you going to do this?
Yeah.
Because all you have to do is pick one time. Personally, I have found, and it's changed a couple times, but when I first started out, for me, it was that in between dinner and like nighttime, right? So like in my 20s, because you doing things later at night, I would have dinner and then I would wait a little bit and then I would do my meditation, freshen up, and then go on to my night, right?
I have to do it right when I wake up in the morning. Like before I
can't
turn on
do
the TV, get the phone, I have to do it like right. And I find, well, especially coming from that more anxious, overly active place,
Yeah, your energy's power.
I'm like so tired. I literally just like crawl out of bed and I go sit on the mat, or I just stay there and just lay in the bed. And my energy is already pretty down because I have a hard time waking up anyway. Yeah. So it's like it works, and it's all about, again, going back to like see what works for you. You know? And as you learn even breathing exercises or maybe mindfulness exercises, you can even use those different things to go in your mind, because if you have, I know ideally we want to just not have it, but like if you start it with guided meditation and then maybe you go towards maybe where you're doing almost the guided meditation but on your own, where you're doing a breathing exercise that you learned, or progressive relaxation body scan, maybe even a chakra, doing the chakra colors, which that'll be another video. We'll go through all of that as well. at some point, and then but that and then the time goes by a lot quicker.
Yes.
Also, and then you kind of move towards where you finally get to, you have more quiet.
Like, so for me, now we're talking, I've been on a spiritual practice now 25 years about, right? Like solid. And in that 25 years, about 25 years, not that I'm trying to age myself, for me, it starts off, like, I can't do it first thing in the morning. I have to get up. I have to kind of get things moving. I have to kind of, like, prepare my day mentally, kind of know what I'm going to be doing. Then I can go into my meditation. And then into my meditation, I typically start with just I'm going to let go of everything. And then I start to incorporate, okay, let me do a body scan and see how I'm doing. Do I need to add some crystals? Someone wanting to talk to me? And I slowly start to do all of that.
Some crystal videos at some point too, to add those,
And so, like, you just build off of it, right? But the foundation is that
just get
3
started.
minutes of just starting. Just try it.
And I've got to say, and I have to admit that when you first told me, like, oh no, not the guy, you've got to eventually move to the quiet. And once I did, though, I'm telling you, it was the most bizarre feeling of, like, not feeling like high, like medicinally high, or but it was this eerie sense of calm that I had throughout the whole day, and nothing. I'm telling you, nothing external could have risen my heart rate, my blood pressure, that anxiety, that anger, nothing. I mean, I was like cool, calm, and collected. And I was like, this is so weird. Like, I couldn't even get angry or irritated if I tried.
Yeah.
And I have a pretty short fuse.
We have a joke in this house. Like, in my house, my children will instantly call me out if I don't meditate. Because they'll be like, oh, look at you today.
Someone didn't meditate.
Someone didn't meditate, and I'm always like, God! And then I have to go do it because I was like, I tried to get away with it for a minute.
They know, they can tell.
They can totally tell because my energy is very different.
Yeah.
Just from it, and you carry it for a longer time.
Yeah. And once you feel that, all I had to do was experience that once, and then and I was hooked, and I was like, wow, that is the feeling. I mean, if you want to talk about feeling completely in control and emotionally regulated, wow, that's like the ultimate, better than any pill you could possibly take in terms of like a prescription medication for anxiety or anything ADHD. Even my concentration, my attention span was good. It was more than balance. It was like a deep, like, peace that I've never felt before.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yes, I know, right?
That's so awesome.
I know.
It's
crying.
It's so great. I'm a big believer. Like, I teach my kids to meditate. Like, all of my kids, both of them, they meditate. They have different
And doing
forms.
it with the family is fun too.
Yeah. Partners.
Yeah.
Always, like, back to back is a fun way to do it. There's so many different varieties out there.
I've even done it with friends when they were going through, difficult things, or we wanted to set intentions, and there's just so many different options. Play with it, have fun, like, make it a part, figure out how to make it a part of your life and, like, what works for you.
Yeah, and there are resources out there. Both of our websites direct you to meditations. I know I have some free ones on my website. You have some on yours.
Yeah.
Plus, we have them on Insight Timer.
I have a bunch on my business's YouTube channel, Free Spirit Coaching, and then also on Insight Timer. We're both on Insight Timer.
And I have mine on thepeacefulsage.com. There's a couple there that you
and of course I come from a more mental health, psychological perspective, and he's coming from more the spiritual.
I come from the woo.
The Yaya sisterhood.
I'm more Yaya, but you get to the same place no matter which one you go with.
Very true.
It's really just about getting on that road
and what works for you.
Yeah, it's just about improving that life.
So share with us, let us know your successes, failures, challenges, difficulties, how you've overcome things, how you've started, because all of this will be able to help other people.
And if you try it, there is no failure.
Very true.
Because you did it.
I love that. Yep.
30 seconds is a meditation.
Yep.
I don't care who you are. 30 seconds is an amazing meditation.
What he said. All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.